Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode where we sit in my car, yap together. Well, it's kind of just me yapping, but I imagine that we're having a conversation in my head because I'm delusional. So, today I wanted to talk about, I've been feeling the usual, I'm in my 20s, I don't know what I'm doing with my life, time is ticking, the classic, I need to figure my entire life out right this second anxiety. And I wanted to talk about it because I kind of go through phases with it. Like, I'm not constantly super anxious about it. I'm not constantly like, I need to figure out what I'm doing with my life all the time. It's not always on the forefront of my mind. But I go through phases where it comes back, like, and it's on the forefront of my mind. I think the issue a lot of the time for me, which probably is the case for a lot of people, is that there's multiple kind of life paths that I could see myself doing and enjoying, and I can't pick one. This is my issue, and then my mind is kind of like pinging back and forth between, well, I could do this or I could do this, but if I do this, that means I can't do the other one. So okay, if I want to do this, or but like, then that's quite expensive, so I'd have to do this first, but then do I really want to do that? Like, it's just constantly pinging back and forth about what I want to do, and it's honestly quite exhausting. But also, I think the annoying thing is when your mind is kind of going through all these ideas so quickly and it's not really like picking anything that it wants to do, no movement really happens towards any of the things. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like no movement really occurs when you aren't actually just making a plan and picking something. And I think for me, I'm someone who, like, I know, it's again probably the case for everyone, I know I really want to fucking enjoy my life, and I don't want to like make a choice that feels um like I could have made a better choice, I could have done something better. And I'm quite a perfectionist, so I'm kind of like, I get stuck in this place of like just thinking about what I could do, and then time passes and like I haven't actually changed my situation, because I'm like, I don't want to start anything until I'm 100% that it's like the perfect thing for me, which is stupid because that doesn't exist. And things happen when you start doing things. Like, I know that sounds like a really stupid thing I just said, but like, things come from other things. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't know where you're going to be and what you're going to do if you're not making any movement and trying anything, because you try something and it turns into something else, and then that gives you an idea of something else. And like, if you're not moving, nothing's happening. The only way to like actually move forward is to just fucking do something. It doesn't really matter what it is. Do you know what I mean? And I think something that I've realized is that I was talking with my friend about this the other day, and she could tell that I was like stressing because I was like, I kind of want to do this, but I kind of want to do this, but like, oh, I don't know. And she was like, but you realize like you have time. Like, you don't have to like, you could do multiple of these things you're talking about. You don't have to just pick one path. Do you know what I mean? She was like, why don't you do both? Like, it's not like you've got a year time to get it all done. Like, you could just take your time with it. And I was like, yeah, my brain didn't even think of that. Like, for some reason, there is this sense of urgency of like, not only do I need to pick one thing, but I also need to do it now. Otherwise, I'm wasting my time. I'm wasting my 20s. I'm like, what am I doing with my life? And it's quite anxiety inducing. And I think that is a reason why a lot of people pick something like a certain job or going to uni or something, is because it feels like it. They then don't have to feel that anxiety of like, what direction am I going in with my life? It kind of like erases that anxiety for a bit, because then you're not really thinking about it anymore. You're kind of moving towards something. And like, I think having goals helps, but it's so tricky because this episode, by the way, is going to be a mess. This is going to be like my scatterbrain in one episode. Um, but it's tricky because, for example, if you're feeling stressed about like you don't know what you want to do with your life, and you think, okay, I'm just going to pick a course and go to university. Is that a smart thing to do? I can't tell. Part of me thinks, yes, at least you're making some movement. You're meeting people, you're going out of your comfort zone. It'll probably lead to something, whether it's what you thought it would be. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you start making some sort of movement, things tend to like just snowball, and like, it's better than doing nothing. But then half of me is like, if you feel a bit lost, the worst thing to do is to throw yourself into something that just simply kind of like silences that anxiety. but it's not necessarily something you feel super aligned about doing. It's just kind of like a cheat code. Do you know what I mean? Of like, oh, I don't know what to do and I feel a bit stuck and like I feel like everyone else is moving away, so I'm just gonna go get a business degree. And this is not me shitting on people that have a business degree, it's just the first degree I thought of, okay. But like, this isn't something that's crossing my mind. Like, no part of me really wants to go to university, and that's not to say that I won't ever, because I know a lot of people that go later in life when they actually feel, you know, called to go for a particular reason, and that's possible for me. You know, I might go at some point, because I really do enjoy learning and I do enjoy studying. Like, part of me actually really misses, I'm not going to say I miss school, you will not catch me dead saying I miss school, but like college times, like I enjoy studying and like having little goals and having little deadlines and like having to write little essays. Like, I'm aware that I'm probably romanticizing it. At the time I was probably like, fucking kill me, but part of me really loved it, and I know that for a fact, because it's just like I like to feel a little bit busy, I like a little bit of pressure, I like a little bit of like I don't know, I enjoy a goal, I enjoy a challenge. And I, again, like I said, I never went to uni, which is a lot more stressful. So if you're actually getting a degree right now, you're probably like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is not fun. And I'm aware a degree is probably a whole different thing. But there's like a part of me when my friends like go to a cafe to like write an assignment, and I'm like, oh, I wish I had an assignment to write. But I do think as well, like a big part of why I enjoy studying and stuff is because I really think I'm a goal-oriented person. And I think a lot of people are, like, generally, I've said this how many times, but like people need a focus. People go crazy if they don't have a focus. And I think when you feel the most overstimulated and anxious about your life, it's because you don't have a focus. And I think that's why I kind of go through these phases of like stress about this, is because like I feel a lack of focus or a lack of direction. And as someone who enjoys goals and a little bit of pressure on me, I kind of, it's almost like my life is too easy right now, which I know I sound like a like ungrateful bitch for saying that, because like, I'm very grateful that that's the case, of course. But like, I feel like I need a bit of challenge, which, to be fair, I do give myself things that challenge me in my life, and like personal development and, you know, exercise, and like this podcast is kind of pressure on me, not in a bad way, but like I do have little deadlines with it, you know, and I need to do certain things and think about certain things, and it does take up quite a lot of my time. And the thing is, though, is I think it's huge to know why you're doing what you're doing in your life, whether it's a massive life goal, like I want to be a paramedic, and that's why I'm going to study for the next, like, I don't know, 10 years. I don't know how long you have to study for that. I have no idea. Or you're like, I want to start my own business. So I'm starting from the bottom and I'm going to work my way up and I'm going to do this and that. And you've got like a massive fat life plan. Do you know what I mean? And it's like working towards a particular thing you really want. Whether it's that big of like a why behind your life, do you know what I mean? Like that big of like a, this is what I'm doing and this is why I'm doing it. Is this making any sense? Whether it's that big of like a plan, or it's simply just having a why behind your lifestyle, your daily lifestyle, or why you exercise every day, or why you spend time with your friends on the weekends, or whatever. I think it's so important to actually connect with like a reason, because then I think this is what I mean. I think when you tie everything to a reason and a purpose, you feel a lot less lost. And I don't think it needs to be, like I said, a huge thing, like a massive like goal of yours. It could simply be, I like to spend my weekends on my creative hobbies and seeing my friends and swimming in the sea, or whatever the fuck you want to do. That may be very important to you, because you may think, I don't know what job I want, I don't know what I want to do in like 15 years, but I know that whatever I do, like with my life, I want to infuse it with creativity and like having deep connections with my friends, and I want to make sure I'm getting out in nature, because like that is huge and important to me. Do you know what I mean? It's something I catch myself kind of thinking at this age, is that I need a bigger reason. behind what I'm doing with my life right now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I have loads of little goals and things that I find really important that I really value in my life. But because I don't know what, sorry, I feel like I've talked about this a million times. Like, this is just consistently on my brain. But because I don't know necessarily what I want to do career-wise, I'm stressing. And I think as well, it's partially because I am someone who's quite anxious, as we know, and I do like to have answers, and I like to plan, and I like to organize. And if I don't know, if there's like a big gap in my life of something I don't know, it's like a big question mark, I don't like that. And I think that's partially why I fixate on thinking of all the options and going through it all in my head, and I kind of don't give myself a break in terms of thinking about what I want to do with my life job-wise. It's because I think once I get an answer, that question mark was gone and I can just fucking get started and go. And I can, like, put my mind to it and it's, then it's fine. But I don't enjoy the question mark. I don't enjoy the not knowing. Maybe, to be honest, as I'm speaking, maybe that is part of the issue. Oh my God, have I just solved my own issue? Viewing my life right now as like a prequel, almost, to before I figure my shit out is probably the issue, because that might never happen. And also then I'm not giving myself enough credit for the fact that I've figured quite a lot of shit out already. And I'm already living a life that I'm quite proud of, and I enjoy my life and what I do with it and my time and who I spend it with and what hobbies and shit I do. Like, I'm quite proud of the life that I live right now. So it's kind of doing myself a disservice to mentally view my life right now as like life before I figure my shit out. Do you know what I mean? Because it's quite likely that will never happen. But also, I am actually a believer that life is just all about the process of evolving and learning and trying. And I don't really think that the end goal is to like get an answer to any of it. It's almost just like the point to me of not necessarily life, but you know what I mean? Life. Is having questions and like just exploring things and being a process. I do think as much as like there is no need to figure shit out, there is no need to have all the answers, there is no such thing. As much as I do believe that, I do think you need to connect with a reason behind what you're doing, if that makes sense. Like I said, I don't think you need to figure shit out. I don't think you need to know what you're going to be doing in however many years. I don't think any of that matters. Even though I'm sitting here saying this has been on my mind and it's been stressing me out, it has. I still don't really think it fucking matters. It's almost like there's two sides of me where I find it really stressful. I'm like, I just need to I want to commit to something. I want to pick it and put myself in that box and just do that so that there's an answer there. But then there's this other half of me that's like, what the fuck are you on about? That's like the worst thing you could do. And that's the side, like, generally that makes me happier, because I do think life's too short to not, this sounds cringe, but like embrace the fact that the whole thing is a fucking process. It's a mess. No one knows what they're doing. You think you know what you're doing. You're probably lying to yourself because you don't know. No one knows what they're doing. Nothing even stays the same. It's just like such a illusion. Like, even people that may have a career that they love and that they're like, okay, I'm investing time into this, I'm working my way up in this career, whatever. Even though that might not be a question mark for them, they might have their career area of their life a little bit sorted. They'll have a question mark in another area that you've figured out, which I think is, again, proving the point that there's no such thing as having it figured out, because no one knows everything. Like, there's things that you'll be way better at and feel way more comfortable and confident in than someone else will. I look at other people that have either got a career that they're into, or they are going off traveling, or they're training up in something, or whatever. They've kind of just got the next few years a little bit more figured out career-wise. And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing wrong? And I feel like behind. But then I know for a fact, because I speak to people about this quite often, that these people sometimes look at me and they have things that they envy about my lifestyle too. Or like there's things that I'm more confident in that I don't stress about, that they would come to me and be like, I wish that I knew what to do with that in my life. And I'm like, oh, well, I wish I knew what to do with that part that you fucking figured out. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's something that I do forget. Everyone feels the exact same. It might not be about the exact same area, but we will also take turns. Do you know what I mean? There'll be a time where career-wise I'm doing pretty well. And like my friends that I meet will be like, I was doing really well and now I kind of want to pivot and do something else because it's not really aligning with me or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's the same with like relationships. You feel like, fuck, I'm single, I'm behind, blah, blah, blah. All my friends are in relationships. But then it's like you get in a relationship and then they get broken up with. Like, there's no linear path with anything in life. And I think, like I said, I think if you feel like you've got all your shit figured out, which I don't think anyone does. And I think, to be honest, the people that genuinely feel like I'm happy with my life, do not give a fuck about, like, I'm good. They're the people that I think have actually just accepted the fact that, like, life is short. You need to just do something that fulfills you and, like, just accept that it's not all about answers. Do you know what I mean? I feel like the happiest people are those people. And I need to work towards that. It's just so much worse in your own head. You are your own worst critic. I'm talking to myself here. Because like I said, I will stress when in reality, I must be doing something right because I'm a very happy person. I enjoy my life a lot. I have a lot of hobbies that I love, a lot of interests. I have some free time. I have people that I love spending time with. I must be doing something right. Do you know what I mean? So, like, it is just a case sometimes of being too insular and critical. And, like I said, I fixate on shit. And then I think when you fixate on it, you get into, like, a little loop and you just stop being, like, very logical. So, when I think about, like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing with my life, am I wasting my time? The more I think that, the more that I convince myself that I'm wasting my time. When in reality, I'm not wasting my time, I'm having a great time. And if I died next week, I'd be happy with how I spent my life. And that's not something that everyone can say. So, do you know what I mean? And I think something that I've actually started doing recently, this is kind of like possibly a whole different fucking conversation. I don't know if this is even slightly linked, we'll see. But at the end of last month, I realized I was getting slightly lazy with the shit that I need to be doing in order to be happy. You know, there's certain things that you do that, like, just keep you sane. Like, for me, it's, like, sleeping at a good time. If you've watched my, like, might be last episode, might be the one before, don't know, on evening routines. Like, sleeping correctly, exercising enough, going to yoga enough. These are, like, the main kinds of things where I'm like, if I need to keep on top of them because they keep me happy. And when I slack on them, I feel like shit. You know, we've all got something that, like, you just kind of have to do. You know, like, we've all got things that, like, just hobbies or, like, interests, whatever, that, like, you just need to, like, do them. And sometimes they take discipline and stuff. And, like, I realized I'd gotten a little bit slack with certain things and I would feel a little bit shit. And then I'd be like, why do I feel like shit? Like, let's look at what I've been doing and work out why I feel like shit. And then it's like, oh, because I haven't been doing any of the things that make me feel good. Weird that. So it's now June. I've decided to start getting back into to-do lists because I used to make to-do lists every single day. And I kind of stopped because I was like, I'm kind of just doing shit without a list. Like, I don't really need one. I'm doing the same things just without a list, you know? But I think I've come back to a point now where I would benefit from a list, and I've been making them, and it's making me feel a lot less lost. So I guess this is linked to what I'm talking about. It's making me feel a lot less lost because I'm making it a little bit more tangible and a little bit more clear and visible that I am doing shit that is important to me, that I'm enjoying, that's moving me towards certain goals. I'm not just sitting on my ass doing nothing. And I think it's, like I said, it's quite easy for me to convince myself that I'm like, oh, what am I doing with my life, when I'm not making it obvious to myself, if this makes sense. Like, I think now I'll make a list. For example, it will be like, wake up at 7:30, go get a matcha, take your laptop and, like, edit some of your podcast, or, like, take your journal or take a book or something, and then, like, go to a yoga class, have a shower, cook, you know, prep some lunches for work or something, maybe record a podcast, maybe go for a run, maybe see a friend, maybe like, I don't know, just whatever. And then I kind of look at it and I'm taking it off and I'm like, I am doing stuff. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. And I think it keeps me on top of as well. Like if there's things I've been putting off for ages, if I put them on my list, I'll do them. Like I don't like I'm not a lazy person. Like if I put something on a list or I tell myself I'm gonna do something, I'll do it. Like I don't like weasel my way out of things. Do you know what I mean? I'm not like, generally I'm not full of excuses for shit. Like I'll just do it. But I think for some reason, like when it's not on a list, I'm just like, I get more like excusey where I'm like, well, I could just not. Whereas I'm like, oh, it's on my list, I can't fucking not, because I'll be annoyed at myself. I get annoyed at myself if I haven't done something when there's no reason. But my point is, kind of in this whole episode, is that we do need direction, and we do need a focus, and we do need goals. I think goals keep you very, very sane. And I think to an extent, it doesn't even really matter what your goals are in particular. I think humans just need goals to work towards. And it's like just the mere fact that you've got something you want to achieve and just having a little plan of like how you're going to improve and how you're going to work towards something. I think that is very important to have. Do you know what I mean? Because otherwise you do feel stuck and you do feel lost. And that's why, even if you don't know what you want to do as like your job or whatever, improve in other areas, like work on other skills, like gain other hobbies, do like a running program, or set yourself like a fucking monthly detox or something. Or like, what else can you do? Try and get really good at painting, maybe learn an instrument, maybe get better at cooking. Like buy a recipe book and be like, I'm gonna cook 2 a week from this recipe book of things I've never made, so that you're working on your cooking skill. Like I think just having a sense of like, I'm improving and there's movement there is huge. And I think as well, like when you achieve goals, if you have like a big goal and you achieve it, it's like, then what? Do you know what I mean? That's kind of why I feel like it's just the process of working towards shit. That's what's important. It kind of doesn't matter what the shit you're working towards is. It's just you need to be working towards something. Otherwise, I think we go a bit mad. Yeah, because it's like, I think I might have even referenced this in a different episode. I am a broken record, if you haven't noticed. But it's like in gaming, you know, in games you have to like unlock shit and you have to work towards getting better. I don't know, like suits, outfits, weapons. I don't fucking know. Don't know what game I'm even talking about. But like, there's a process of like, you have to earn getting better at it. You know, you can't have certain things until you've earned it and gone through certain levels, whatever. It's almost like if you had a cheat code and you just like got it all, it's fucking boring and you feel a bit like, okay, I don't want to bother now. Like, it's only fun if you are working towards it. And I think that's why in life, like, it's great to have all these big aspirations and all these dreams and all these goals, but it's kind of like you have to acknowledge the fact that the goal itself, the aspiration itself being achieved isn't the goal in a way. The goal is to work towards something. You know, that's not the most important part. The most important part is just having a sense of direction and waking up with a sense of purpose and working towards something. Because like that's kind of what people are designed to do. You know, we're designed to be problem solvers and to do shit. You know, we're not designed to have a life that's too fucking easy, because then we get a little bit irritable. Like I said, if you're in a game and like everything's handed to you, it's not as exciting as if you'd earn it, you know? So I think that's something that helps in terms of what I'm talking about here, like feeling lost and confused about what you want to do with your life and shit at this age or whenever. It's almost like something that soothes me to think about is that even if, say, I picked a career that I wanted and like trained up in it and got it, and now I'm working in it, I can always guarantee you I'll want to do something else at some point, because I'll be like, now what? Now what? I want to work towards something else, because like I like to work towards shit. And that is why I like to have a little to-do list, and I like to set myself little personal goals so that it's just keeping my life fun and flavorful and exciting, and I'm growing. And the whole kind of aim for me is that like a year's time, I'm an even better version of myself. Do you know what I mean? And a happier person, and that I've improved on things that I found difficult, or that I've worked on certain things, or I've gained a new skill. Maybe I'm like way better at cooking. Do you know what I mean? I keep referencing cooking because like that's something I love doing. The thing is, I think with goals, like I said, it doesn't really matter what they are. You just need some. It doesn't matter what your goals are, but you just need to have some. Otherwise, you'll be losing it. The thing is, it doesn't matter what it is, but it does have to kind of align with yourself, and like it doesn't have to in a massive way. It doesn't have to be like I said, like I want this career because this is the like it doesn't have to be anything like that. It could literally be, let me go back to cooking. I want to improve my cooking skills because I love food. I love cooking is very relaxing. It's kind of a love language. I love cooking for people. I love having the option to do that for people. I like that I can cook nice food for people and for myself, and that like it's obviously good for your health. And these are things that I care about. These are values that I have. So it ties into like, it's not just, oh, I like cooking because it's fun. It's like you have to kind of give yourself like a bit more of like a, did I just say like about 10 times? I feel like I did. I should say again. Yeah, if you really think about it, there's probably a reason behind why you love doing the things you love anyway. Like, it's going to align with you in some way. Otherwise, you wouldn't get that enjoyment out of it. Do you know what I mean? And I think then, with your goals or your hobbies or whatever it is that you enjoy spending time and energy on or whatever, if you know that it's kind of aligned to you a bit more, then like that's the kind of goal you want. That's the kind of things you want to be working on. Then it doesn't matter if it's as simple as like, I just want to get really good at gardening. Do you know what I mean? Like, I would love to in future grow my own fucking veg. I would love to do that, and like fruit and like a herb garden. I would love that. I would absolutely love that. So like for me, if I set myself a goal, like I don't fucking know, like try and grow my own basil. Like that's a tiny goal, kind of trivial as fuck. Like, does it matter? Not really, if I can do that. But it's tied to me in the sense of like, I love cooking. I would love to grow all my, like that would be so fulfilling to me, to grow my own like shit and like cook all these different things and be like eating it and be like, I grew that. That's fulfilling, and that's kind of like, again, what life is about. That like it doesn't need to be this big fat goal. It can just be loads of tiny little things that you want to do. If you set yourself at the top of the year some goals, that like loads of little goals, like I want to read, I literally did this last year. I was like, I want to read a book a month. I want to, what the fuck were my other ones? I had multiple. Anyway, if you set yourself goals where they're like just about enjoyment and like what you want to do with your life, like what you like doing, I want to learn how to cook a certain thing. I want to learn how to grow my own flowers. That's another thing I'd love to do. And then you could like make your own bouquets in your house. That'd be so cute. You want to read a certain amount, or maybe you want to watch a certain amount of films. Maybe you're into film. Or maybe you want to go to like 10 different art galleries that year, or you want to travel to a particular country, or you want to learn how to make your own pasta or something. Like, that's enough. Do you know what I mean? I think the only thing is like, obviously you have to earn enough to like be self-sufficient, or at least like in a partnership or something. Like, you have to be able to function and have money to do that, and everything in life is very expensive. And I think I wish life was, all I had to do was like cook bread all day and like paint and go for walks and swim in the sea. Like, I wish. But like, unfortunately, a career and a job, I think it feels kind of pressing, because it's like, well, you can't not do that, and you need one. So annoyingly, to some extent, you do have to do something with that. But you could do, as long as you're earning money and you can like pay your bills, it doesn't really matter what the fuck you're doing. Like, your career doesn't have to be your source of fulfillment. It can just be a job to you. And to be honest, again, have I talked about this before? Probably. I kind of like the thought of my job just being a job. I don't know that I want, to climb the corporate ladder or anything. I think I'd quite like a job that's like, I go home and I don't have to think about it. Who the fuck has just texted me? Protein workout. Okay. See, I'm kind of alleviating my own stress just by talking it through on this podcast. This podcast is like therapy for me. But yeah, I think like reevaluating what's actually like what your image of like a life that you'd want is, and like how important is your job? How important are your hobbies? Would you like to be in a relationship? Would you like don't feel like you have to figure these things out because they might not be that important to you, you know? You know, you might maybe you want to get married, maybe you don't, maybe you would like to travel, maybe you'd like to move abroad, maybe you'd like to go to university, maybe you'd like to work in a school. I have no idea. Like, what do you actually like when you think about an image of life, what kind of life you'd like? How big are these things in it? You know, and like this week, I'm meeting a friend later. I'll probably bake some bread at some point this week. I'm going away for a night. I've made plans to see my friends next week. I'm going out with my family this weekend for some pizza. You know, I've got fun shit planned. I'm going to have a great week, and I don't want to waste my time and ruin the fact that I've got an actually lovely life by stressing about, oh my god, what do I do? Oh my god, am I doing it right? Oh my god, what if I'm wasting my time? I'm not. I have a lovely life and I enjoy it. It's fucking stupid. Like, I went to yoga last night and I was lying there at the end. It's like a restorative thing where we were lying down and like it was a meditation-y thing, I guess. And like I was just thinking, I was literally lying there like stressing about all these random things. I was like, as if I've paid to come to a yoga class, I'm just gonna fucking sit here and stress. I could do that at home. Like, I am kind of getting sick of ruining my own peace when there's no fucking need, because things figure themselves out, things work out, and I trust myself to work it out. And I think you should do the same. I think you should not let your current phase in your life or where you're at get ruined and tainted by the fact that you don't know what to do with your next phase of your life. Do you know what I mean? I think that is so typical of this age. Like, there are so many perks to being in your 20s and not having a ton of ties, not having a ton of pressure. Like, a lot of the time there's a fuck ton of pressure, but like a lot of the time there's so many perks that are exclusive to this kind of age. Not necessarily. You can do what you want, but like, you know what I mean? And then we spend it like stressing, and then you look back and you're like, what the fuck, that was great. It's so typical to do that, to like in hindsight think that was such a good era of my life, because in the future you will have figured it out and you'll be doing something. So just trust that will happen and don't ruin this chapter. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Was very scatterbrain vibes, but that's like, that is me, and this is my podcast. So I like, are you surprised? I'm not. Thank you for listening, and I will talk to you next Tuesday.